Hello my fish family, how we doing? Lovely jubbly? Alright, let's get into this. So what are we doing? From all my carp only subscribers, you're probably thinking, where is he then? I do this time of year, although I don't neglect carp because that's exactly what we're going for tonight. I do like to mix it up a little bit and just do a little bit of chub fishing, a little bit of perch, pike and zander fishing as well, which probably will have already released it if I was successful. So can't look into the future and tell you whether I will be successful at this moment in time, but that's coming up, well, this next session. If you haven't all clicked off because I'm confusing the F out of you, then stick with it. So I'm going on my usual deep water gravel pit, hoping to be able to get on the lake I usually fish, but since, well, maybe they've always been quite popular, but I don't know, for the last few weeks of trying to get on that particular water, it's absolutely been rammed, and I've gone on to the harder lake, which, although I luckily had one on the first time I ever tried it, I have blanked 4 times on there. I think there's certain swims you need to get on, and it's all about working waters out, isn't it? Excuse me, a bit of a dry mouth, a bit of a rush, as it usually is. I don't usually do a weekend session, typically. Do I? Probably. It's usually sort of midweek while, you know, having a day off during the week. Yeah, and it's always a bit risky on Saturday, even though actually coming here midweek is sometimes risky. It's just, oh, someone's in trouble. Favo, is that me? Don't know if you're actually allowed to record. I think I researched it once and you are allowed to record whilst you're driving. It's a little bit wobbly, and I did promise I'd get something more fixed, and I need to look at that. But bait's more important. The big C word's coming up. Yeah, so there's other things that's more important at the moment. But I will get onto it because videos are important, of course. You know, and it needs to be a good experience for you all. But anyway, back to the session at hand. So, if you've been following along with the big carp sessions, you know, it's been mostly a boilie only approach, and come winter, now I don't feel that personally you need to stray away from that, but I don't know, I had a few sessions where I blanked. I fished the swim I usually fish as well, which is getting a bit more pressure now. When I started fishing it, one thing I noticed, you know, you should always be trying to, you know, look at a water, shouldn't you, and just try and work out, is there certain swims that, you know, not getting so much pressure, or because I believe carp can't know that, they're not stupid, are they? Let's be honest. And I hope them blue lights are not in front, that the traffic's now about to be stopped. No, it looks possibly the other side, or just kept continuing. Anyway, yeah, carp, as we all know, will look for them safer swims, and if they want to rest, and I feel that if you can get on top of them swims, sometimes, not all the time, you know, fish might let their guard back down a bit, because the way I look at carp is a swim can produce really well, like mine has, but if it gets more and more pressure, then fish will, you know, over time start to realise that that's a bit of a danger zone now, and they'll shy off, I believe anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe the times that I fished it, you know, it just hasn't fished well, I don't know, but yeah, I had blanked a couple of times on there the last few times, bar the last session you would have seen, in that frost. Oh, that was the first frost of the, it wasn't even the winter, it was late autumn, but the first frost we had, and it was quite nice actually, waking up and that bivvy was glistening. Have a look, I went to sleep watching the stars, because I'm sad like that, watching the shooting stars, and yeah, my whole bivvy was frozen inside also, but actually that was really nice, and I'm not just saying that. All you guys that only do the summer and perhaps watching videos just to get yourself up for the next year ahead, the next season ahead, probably going, yeah, right mate, you're obviously freezing your bloody gonads off. But the thing is now, in my opinion, and I always say in my opinion, but there's no reason to be cold. Like, there's no reason. Sleep systems, this Navitas gear, if you haven't got some, and I'm no way endorsed, and I'm not, do you know what I mean, I'm not any part of that, I haven't got any referral system, there's no link where I'm going to get tons of money because you're going to buy Navitas gear, but buy yourself some. I mean, the hoodie, I think that was like 45 quid, so they're nice and thick. I'll tell you what, that session that you might have seen or may not have seen, I actually walked my barra down, and I literally had to take that off, and already the grass was getting that, you know, that slight frost where it's been damp but it's starting to go a bit crispy. You know, I was so hot I actually had to set up in just my t-shirt. Like, I was like, and it got to about 11 where I was like, okay, now's time, because the trousers, and I believe stuff like your feet and your legs and your hands, if you can keep them warm, or like a good, you know, a bloke from the club said, if you keep this warm, so take a hot water bottle as well, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to brave it like us crazy kids. Anyway, so if we can't get onto the pit that I usually go onto, there is the hard pit as well, and there's a swim on there that I've watched a few old videos of the lake, and it is hard old water, but there's a swim on there, going back to the swim aspect, that perhaps is not going to be chosen or not going to be favoured this time of year. It's probably more of a summer swim, but the lake I usually go on is fucking pressured. I'm not all about that. Even though there's a bit more of a stock in there and it's somewhat easier, I'm not about on pressured waters. Like, my personal opinion, if a harder water is pressured, and you might have a different viewpoint, but if a harder water isn't as pressured, I'm going on that. Do you know what I mean? I think the fish are always going to have their guard up in fishing lakes, especially if they're fished quite consistently, like these lakes, regardless. But yeah, I don't know. I just I'd much prefer to fish a harder water with less pressure, a bit more choice. But I am leaving. I'll probably only have about 15 minutes of light. That's the problem with this time of year. But nonetheless, I don't mind setting up, wrapping up, and spomming out. You know, I know where I need to be if I get onto the lake I want, and I know where I need to be if I get onto the lake and I get that swim that I do want on that lake. Not making a lot of sense, am I? Not very articulate. Anyway, I'm going to shut up, concentrate on driving, and let's see what lake I end up on. Well, talk about how's your luck. I can only see one person on the lake that I usually fish, and I can't even see anyone on the other one. They're probably up in a swim called Barrels or around that area. So, fingers crossed. Talking about luck, I realised halfway here, I was like, oh, I didn't bring a cup. So coffee and, well, I've got a sweet corn tin that I'm probably going to use, not going to lie, it's going to be fun. But then realised, I bought fried stuff this time, realised I forgot my spoon too. So I had to make a quick dash to the local shop. I've decided to buy some pot noodles and some Cornish pasties. So you know what I'll be having for dinner tonight. Anyway, you just got to laugh about things like that. Just always in a rush. But anyway, I'm going to get my arse over onto the swim that I wanted to get on. Just absolutely over the moon that the lake is barely pressured. One person I can see. There might be someone else tucked away, but I need to get these tested and get some more glasses. But anyway, yeah, should hopefully be able to get the rods out just before it's pitch dark. Let's go and have some, shall we? Wind's pushing in there. Okay, it's nice warm wind. It has been cold lately, but yeah, I think hopefully we should see a bite. I'm predicting 2 bites before we even go to sleep. Now, that's a hell of a prediction. Whew, that's an ask for this time of year, right? Well, let's see what happens. Out there, I've bivvy sound like it's going to take off because the wind is literally just pushing into this bank. But yeah, I haven't seen any fish, and typically this time of year it's later on. It has always, when I've been here, been typically about 11 onwards until, well, usually around 8 o'clock. Sometimes it's pushed to like 11 in the morning, which is crazy. But we're not going to hear much with the wind anyway. But yeah, am I hopeful? Yeah, I think so. The water to me doesn't feel any colder than when I was last here, so that's good. And there is 2 other people. So there's someone in what they call the car park swim, and then someone on the swim next to the one that I usually go on. So I've managed to get on the swim that I wanted to, which isn't fished that often. There's a couple on here that people tend to not choose because it's a bit more of a trek, and I don't know, there's more favoured swims perhaps. You know, like I said to you on the drive down, it's yeah, sometimes if you just choose them swims that are perhaps not so favoured, I think especially with the warier carp, and they're all pretty wary in here. There's only been a few times I've got here and had fish off the bat, but actually I don't think it's going to be that long. I just got this feeling. Again, if you watch my videos, and I don't make it up, I wouldn't say it, that I predict a bite, and half the time, and that's exactly what I'm feeling right now. I feel like I'm going to have a really good session, and at the end of the day I won't post this if I don't, because no one will know. No, I'm joking, but obviously I'm going to, unless I get fish, I'm going to post it. But I don't know, I just got this really good feeling. Got to see my mum for a roast dinner tomorrow, which will be nice, because living off a pot noodle and ginsters all night is probably not going to be the one. Nonetheless, we do what we do. I just hope that meat's alright, because I've spent like 20 quid on food for this session, 10 of which I won't be able to eat. But anyway, so we'll give it till about probably to about 2 or 3 tomorrow. But I feel I'm not going to have much sleep. I just got that feeling. I hope that's because of the feeling, not because I haven't been here for so long, and like, do you know what I mean, and just like excited about it. Bloody sad, I'm 37 years old and I get so excited about things still. Like you, do you still get excited about fishing? Pop it in the comments, guys. What do you get most excited about? Is it just being out there? Is it catching the fish? Do you know what? This is going to sound really sad and you're going to think I'm an absolute BSer now, but I actually embrace the blanks now. And what I mean by that is, I had a little run of blanking here after France. I was on, you know, not sounding big-headed, I was on fire on here before France. Catching in less than 24 hours, catching between 1 and 5 fish, and that's not bad for big carp fishing. You know, we're talking good fish. You know, average 25. And then I come back, and I think the season had just switched, and I don't think we should change things drastically, in my opinion. Although, to be fair, you guys might be watching this and you've probably had way more experience in the big carp game. I've done it for a few years now, but just dipped my toe in. I've never fished for the big carp like I have this year. Religiously, week in, week out, same venue, but yeah, I feel like I've learnt a lot and I've come a long way personally. You know, some people think I go a lot, but then I look at other people and they will probably do 3 nights a week. So, you know, I'd love to be able to do 2-3 nights at a time, but typically, unless I book holiday, I just can't. But anyway, very blessed and grateful that I can come even on a night, because I'm going to touch on a little thing now. I heard some bad news about, I wouldn't say a mate of a mate, because it's someone on my mate's football team, and I class him as a mate, and he watches my videos, and you know who you are, I'm not going to name names, but he's younger than me, and he's been told some really bad news, health-wise, and I know he's going to pull through, and I know you're going to pull through, but, you know, strong. What I'm trying to get at is that we all go through life like we're all invincible, nothing's ever going to happen. You hear of all these bad things, it would never happen to you. And at the end of the day, it so can, at any time. And where I'm getting with this is, if you're someone, and I get it, if it's cold and wet and horrible, and you don't go because of it, just take a step back and go, I don't mean to sound like this, but if you weren't here come spring, perhaps that's when you start again. If you weren't here, if unfortunately you were never here anymore, and there is another life, or there's a reflection of life, of some consciousness or whatever, I'm going to sound really kooky now, would you look back and go, actually, I I wish I'd have gone. I don't know. That's the way I try and look at things now. You know, I never want to wish that I'd have done a bit more, or, do you know what I mean, this, that and the other, and we all want more. I don't really know where I'm going with that. But anyway, to my mate, stay strong, bud. I'm there if you need me, just text me. But anyway, coming back to the session, like I say, I feel really confident. The wind's pushing this bank, it's a lovely warm wind. I probably would just about be able, this is like, what, the 6th or 7th, 8th of December, probably be comfortable without my hoodie on. It's just mad, isn't it? How 1 minute we're getting like a frosty week, and the next minute it's like bloody June again. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just silly. But yeah, I think it's about 5:45 in the evening now, and I reckon that first bite's going to come about 8 o'clock. I've just got this feeling we're going to get a couple of quick bites. There's no one else along this bank, and then the next pressure is halfway up the lake, and then pressure right opposite on the top bank. I suppose you'd call it the top bank from where I am. Yeah. Let's see anyway. But yeah, got 3 on the spot. Spommed 8 spoms over the top. I have a little mix that I'm going to try for a few sessions before I give it away, because I want to, if it works, I'm all about sharing, so hit the subscribe button. But if it works, I want to make sure it works with a little bit of consistency before I give actually away what I'm doing. But hit the subscribe button. It's probably might not be anything more than what you already know, but it might not. It could be something that you've just not thought of. Anyway, if you want to subscribe. If not, join the family, welcome. If not, don't worry. But yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm going to set the camera up. I'm recording about half an hour. I'm going to let it charge up a little bit more, because I think we're going to get it on camera. Anyway, let's see what happens. Pot noodle, you say? Nah. Hot chocolate. Oh, morning, guys. 4:30. I woke up about 1:30. A little bit disappointed because my 8 o'clock prediction didn't work, and I really wanted that Mystic Meg roll. But anyway, I pulled these out because I have woke up to a 4 o'clock screamer. Looks like a nice common. Thought it was going to be quite small, but actually doesn't look too bad of a fish. So let's have a look. Right, let's have a look then. Ooh, lovely common. You know, if you haven't watched me before, the commons are not all that common in here. The mirrors that outweigh everything. I've had a few, some really nice ones. A couple of 30s. And a little cricket back common as well. I dare say this one might be in the 30s club, which would be nice. Let's give her away first. Let's get the sling weighed first. Just get that zeroed. Beautiful fish. Should have zeroed these first, really. There we go. Nice and easy. Good girl, well behaved. I thought this was going to be a bit more lively. That might just be in the 30s club. Thought it was going to be a lot smaller than this, because it just bloody tore up the lake. Stripping line, couldn't stop it. Coming out, it's 25.8, so not quite in the 30s, but lovely. Oh. very welcome common nonetheless. Look at that. Look at that for a bruiser. Lovely wind blowing into this bank. It's calmed down though a lot, so there's lots of oxygen in the water. Probably make these push around a little bit more, even though the water is quite cold. Look at that for a fish. Pop that fin up for you. Yeah, really chuffed with that one. Not one I've caught out of here yet, so that's even better. I've only had one potential recapture. Yeah, still so many fish to go for, so yeah, love how thick that is. Getting some shoulders on her as well. 25.8. Lovely common. Well behaved in the net, which is always handy. Beautiful fins on it. Off she goes. Well guys, as you can see, the sun is now coming up and nothing further. A few shows, not many. I decided to reset my other two rods as well because I had this feeling that something weren't right, and I think when I was casting in the dark and that's so windy, whether because I'm fishing slack, some of the line came over the other one, but yeah, when you get that feeling, so freshen the baits up at least. But every fishing experience is different, right? This morning, like, because I'm not on the Mystic Meg vibe, I certainly am on the Dr. Dolittle vibe. It's been quite staying up, and I don't know if you're like me. Part of why I love fishing is being out in nature and listening to stuff. But take a look at this first of all. Yeah, so an owl had literally just flown over the top of me. I could kind of make it out, and it was so close. And there's loads of owls in the trees there. All of a sudden this pheasant flies off out from all them trees because there's bloody, must be 8-10 owls all condensed in that tree line over the way. And then this happened. Two muntjac deer literally down the corner here barking to each other. I've never had that before. I think it is breeding season for deer now. Pop a comment in if you know if that's true or not. I believe it's now, like in winter time when they rut and then they breed, ready for the fawns to be delivered in the spring. So gonna fish till probably around 1 o'clock, I reckon. Yeah, not many shows going back onto the carp front. Not as many as sessions previously, but it does vary so much here. One morning it will be all the way up until 11 o'clock, like I said before. One morning it will be till 5, and that's it. So let's see, a couple of hours. I'm still hopeful. I'm still positive we're going to get one more on the bank. Let's see if it happens today. Okay, my zoom is rubbish on this, but look at that white heron. I'm sure it's not an egret, because egrets are a lot smaller. Well guys, just want to say plenty coming up. Nearly pike season for me, sort of January and February where I'll get the pike rods out, and in the lakes that I'm fishing here, the record a couple of years ago was £33. So if that big old girl's still in here, what is she now? That'll be interesting. I've already had a pike out of the big lake on an imitation snail while I was carp fishing, so hopefully be able to show you a few good crocs. If you're into pike fishing, obviously hit the subscribe button, and you should or should not, hopefully you should have seen the Xander video already. I think I'll release that before this one. Anyway, back to the carp. So one cracking common, held out the rest of the day. It's absolutely pissing down, but no further bites. Just hoping that perhaps I might nick one during the day. What I have seen here is it's mainly early morning bites. The one in the previous session was 3 o'clock, this one was 4 o'clock, so maybe next one's going to be 5, but I'll be back down here very soon. And I'm going to give that winter bait a couple more tries, maybe one more try. If it works, obviously reveal the bait just in case it helps you catch a winter carp or two. For now, I'm going to live every carp angler's dream, get packed up in this pissing down with rain and make the long walk back to the car. So have a little laugh at me. It's a big old hill, probably a bit slippery. I'm going to get very wet, but it's all in aid of the absolute obsession. Anyway, for now, as always, tight lines.